There's a potential war on Christmas displays across parts of the U.S. A public library in Dedham, Massachusetts, took down its Christmas tree, claiming it offended some customers. The city of Greensboro, North Carolina, sent out a letter telling staff that only secular decorations are allowed in public buildings. And now a city in California switched out its Christmas tree for a non-religious light display. The display includes a peace sign and the logo for the city of Alameda. By making the change, the city saved about $10,000. But the peace sign isn't exactly something that people are happy about. Is canceling Christmas trees a trend? Let's turn to Dan O'Donnell, host of The Dan O'Donnell Show. Thanks for being with us. I think people are trying to be more inclusive, that word inclusive, of people who don't necessarily believe in the story of Christmas, but is being politically correct being taken too far?
Yes, absolutely. In fact, I'd love to do a little thought experiment. Would any of these public facilities have any problem with a drag queen story hour in which the drag queen was dressed as a sexy Santa Claus? I'm willing to wager no. So the Christmas tree becomes offensive, even though the reality is Christmas in the United States is every bit as much a secular holiday as a religious holiday. In fact, I'm willing to wager as the number of people who are practicing Christians or who practice religion at all goes down in this country, the number of people who still celebrate Christmas stays the same. The secular aspect of Christmas, Santa, Christmas trees, exchanging gifts, gathering with families, exists quite apart from the religious celebration of the birth of Jesus Christ. And this is what I think the people who seek to get rid of Christmas trees or all mention of Christmas in public places fail to realize.
But it's interesting because, I mean, the peace sign is offensive to a lot of Christians. If you do a little research on that, for them to replace a Christmas tree with a peace sign seems interesting. But as you mentioned, there are a lot of agnostic people who put up Christmas trees. So what is the offense about?
There is nothing offensive about a Christmas tree. Look, 70 to 75% of people in this country still say they are Christian. Okay, so this is an overwhelming majority religion in the United States. I'm willing to bet that between 85 and 95% of people celebrate Christmas, or even those who are, say, Jewish, at least go to Christmas parties and don't have an issue with seeing a Christmas tree. Look, for many, many years in this country, we have had a tremendous misinterpretation of the Establishment Clause of the First Amendment. Putting up a Christmas tree in City Hall does not establish a state religion in that city. Okay? It is a symbol of the time of year. And the people who have an issue with this, frankly, I've always thought are just looking to be offended and looking to cause problems.
Yeah, well, hopefully nobody attacks the Rockefeller Christmas tree, because that is just, we draw the line there, okay? We draw the line. Thank you, Dan O'Donnell, for being with us.
Thank you for watching. Go to newsnationnow.com to find NewsNation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.